Granny used to tell me all the time, sparks when faith and preparation combine. The road been right here all this time, but you gotta look with more than your eyes. And the small axe Jesse Ryle representing for I Just Star Mindset, rich forever.
Blessed love, manners and respect. Want to greet the item in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, Empress Menin I. Another day above ground, and we're giving thanks for our ultimate position, which is life. We're live here in Ghana, Accra, and we have a special guest on the program today, the author of Rasta,
The Rise of Rastafari.
The Rise of Rastafari by Makonnen, Sankofa. Blessed love, my brother.
Blessed.
Warm welcome. It's an honor and a pleasure to have the hype on the platform, my lord.
Yes, blessed love. It's a pleasure to be on the platform. Greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I. As you mentioned, author of the book, the full title, The Rise of Rastafari, Resistance, Redemption, and Repatriation. Yeah, so pleasure to come be on the show.
Powerful, powerful, my lord. Powerful, powerful. Great. I know of the eye, Zine, because I've seen the eye, and I think it's the black seat, Zine, if I'm remembering correctly. So that is how I know of the eye. But I didn't recall the eye being an author, Zine, and writing books and so on. Talk to me about, coming into Rastafari, because normally we have the stereotypical thing within Rastafari that you're only going to see a Rasta man with locks, Zine, but me know say the eyes are Rastafari and they are in have no locks, as we can see. So talk to me about your forward into Rastafari, your journey within Rastafari.
It's interesting you said that, because the eye used to have locks. So I think when I was a lot younger, I'm saying a lot younger, like I'm a big old man now. I'm 32 now, given my age. But when I was 25, 23, 24, I used to have locks anyway. But when I first come into Rasta, I didn't have locks, yeah. And in terms of my journey and trod into Rastafari, first I just want to get rid of that notion straight away, that misconception, because like you said, when you go to a lot of places, even when in Ghana, yeah, or you go to Gambia, and some people even just think it's a hairstyle there. They think that Rasta, they think it's a hairstyle. It's like you go to the hair shop and they're like, oh, he's got the Rasta, which is, completely wrong. And the locks, not, if you look at the founding fathers of the movement, so like Joseph Hibbert, Robert Hines, Leonard Howe, Archibald Dunkley, these people weren't locks men, yeah. The locks came later down the line, and it's not to say every Rasta, to be a Rasta, you have to have locks, yeah. Just like you don't have to smoke ganja, yeah. Or you don't have to love reggae music, for example. Those are, or red, gold, and green. Those are parts of the culture. Some people want to express themselves in a certain way. As we know, the locks come into various ways, but one of the most popular ways it came in was the Mau Mau warriors. When the Mau Maus were fighting to get independence in Kenya, it was, I believe, in the mid 50s. The men, they styled their hair in locks because they were fighting a war against the British, and they wanted their freedom. So they was like, no, we're not going to cut our hair until we get our freedom. So the imagery, the Rastas in Jamaica, they saw imagery of the Mau Maus, and then they copied their hairstyle from locks, because they were fighting their own liberation in Jamaica, in the colonial state, in the colonial Jamaica. True. So that's how you have some Rastas that locks because of in the Bible, there's quotes in the Bible that justify it. So you have different Rastas that locks their hair from certain ways. Some Rastas do it because that's how they come into the movement. They knew, and then they want to do that, and to them it's an important part of their identity. But the movement is much beyond the locks, and when people make that as the main thing, it's kind of retarded, because if the people that didn't start the movement didn't have locks, how can it be that every Rasta man has to have locks? Yeah. And even like Gad, for example, from 12 tribes of Israel, Gad was a leader. He didn't have the locks, yeah. And His Majesty himself, Haile Selassie, if you're looking at the picture of this, you're looking at me. We're pretty similar, like in hairstyle, texture, etc. So His Majesty, Leonard Howe, and Marcus Garvey, arguably the three most important people in Rastafari, they weren't locksmen. So But that's not to say the locks are not important, yeah, because they are important to the individual. But it's not to say, you know, a man has to have locks to be a Rasta, yeah. Now, how I come into the movement is, you know what, it started kind of like through reggae. I always used to hear reggae music from, you know, different artists singing, and I love reggae music, and I always used to hear, you know, Selassie talk, and I was like, what's this Selassie that I always, you know, hear about? So then I actually, I read, I got some books, and I watched a documentary of Haile Selassie, and I bought the autobiography of Haile Selassie, and it was Autobiography Volume 1. And you know, that stood out to me because there was a picture. Not this picture, but it was a picture. But when I looked at that picture, I was like, saw like a resemblance of myself. And it's like that time, you know, you don't learn about in schools or education or you know, any black kings or black emperors or anything like that, for example. So I was like, kind of like, wow, you know, who is this black king? You know, it's not, you know, King James. It's not, you know, a white king or something like that. So I was intrigued to find out more. So that's initially what kind of sparked my interest in seeing in this, you know, this black emperor, and you know, reggae music, always hearing about Selassie, so making me want to search more and find out about the thing. So then basically I got information, you know, I read, you know, there's parts of the autobiography, I looked at documentaries, and then I also went to Rastafari events and reasoned with Rastafari because I wanted to learn, because my background is, my mum's family are Jamaican, yeah. My dad is from Malawi, Southeast Africa, but I was raised in my mum's family, which is Jamaica. And you know, the movement really, you know, it brought about, it emerged from the island of Jamaica. So it was relating to, you know, my own heritage. So obviously I wanted to like find out as well about my identity, my roots, and etc. So Rastafari was like a natural thing for me to come into. So you know, I started reasoning with brethren, and I watched documentaries, books. I did a holistic research, you know, different sources, different places I went to, and come into it. And then what I found was, you know, the principles of Rastafari, which I could identify with, and the things such as, you know what, black people, you know what, doing for self, being self-sufficient, you know, being independent, following on the teachings of the people like Howell and Garvey and etc. And you know what, like that, you know, race first, and you know, the need for, you know, black people, those Muslim descendants, to look towards repatriation to Africa, and you know, looking at divinity and a concept within, rather than, you know, looking at, you know, externally like an image of a white Christ and them kind of things, and you know, acknowledging, you know, a black king, a black emperor, and saying that we should look at ourselves. I'd always been someone, you know what, very, even though not as conscious as this, but even like I supported Chelsea Football Club. I still support Chelsea Football Club, but I was more into it. And the reason I supported Chelsea Football Club back then was because Rod Gullit was a football player. But when I saw Rod Gullit, a black man in Knox, and I just liked, you know, seeing that. So I'd always been very conscious of, you know, seeing a reflection of myself in places. Yeah, and it's taken it up to the day because I'm in Ghana, you know, where you see black prime minister, you know, black ministers, black this, black that. So I've been very conscious of that. So that, I think, really appealed to me in seeing Emperor Haile Selassie as a king. But with Rastafari, it was true to my own, you know, my history and my journey as, you know, as someone of Caribbean heritage. Yeah.
So did you grow up in a Rastafari household?
So no, I didn't grow up in a Rastafari household. So I come into it myself. Both of my parents were not Rastas.
Rastafari, powerful.
But I think that was kind of a good thing because it allowed me to do my own research and such, and to get knowledge from different people, because obviously there's different ideologies within Rastafari, and some people see things. So I was able to get a more grounded view of it, because like, say if you come into a Rasta house, whatever house it is, maybe it's 12 tribe or Bob or whatever, you may just learn from that perspective, because you know, that's how the house has been raised, so you're going to come into that perspective. So because I was kind of open and I went out and searched my own thing, I was able to mix amongst people from different ideologies and really, you know, come into it on myself. And
you're born in the UK, right?
Yeah, I was born in England, Lewisham to be precise, Catford.
Okay. And when you were growing up, as a Rasta youth, Zine, you probably didn't find Rasta at what age did you find Rastafari then?
I guess I would start seeking into it when I was like 19, and 19. Then into my early 20s, that's where I would come into it. Because even before, when I was like first getting information or whatever, I liked it, but I would say that really said that, yeah, this is definitely the path for me, and I'm coming to probably after about a couple of years of research, and then I fully come into it probably like in my early 20s, about 21, 22, and then started taking it really serious from then.
And what really attracted the eye to Rastafari?
the thing that attracted me, you know, was the principles, the foundation of Rastafari. You know, the black consciousness, and this is, you know, the foundation. The foundation of Rastafari is, you know, African liberation, and that was, you know, in line with my thinking. And the Pan-Africanism, because, you know, as Rastas we are Pan-Africanists. To be a Rasta you have to be Pan-Africanist. To be a Pan-Africanist you don't have to be a Rasta, but as Rasta we are Pan-Africanists. So, you know what, the whole repatriation to Africa for, you know, for black people, for us to be in a land, you know, what we're amongst ourselves, and based on the, you know, the historical context of us as descendants of enslaved Africans being taken away from our homeland, the need for us to go back in our homeland and you know what, to help with the development of Africa, and, you know, the you know, the self-sufficiency of, you know, the black nation is what stuck out to me. The self-sufficiency, black people, you know, doing it for self, not relying on the West, not relying on Asian man, not relying on the white man. You know, it's we have to do for we, and these are the kind of, you know, things that brought me into it. You know, the principles of Rasta nationhood. You know, that we as black people, we should, you know what, build a nation. You know, and strive to do for self, and that we have to look at, you know what, if we're going to look at divinity, we have to look within ourselves. You know what, we can't look at externally other images and you know, other people for our liberation. You know what, for example, if we want to have a concept of God as a black man from Africa, you know, why shouldn't we want to have that as our concept? Or if we want to see him as king, because, you know, every Rasta people see Haile Selassie in different light, but, you know, that concept of basically us having, you know what, that Leonard Howard, that, you know, to create the concept of God, you know, within an African man, within a black man, that we should say, you know, yes, we look at ourselves and say, you know, we are kings and queens, and remember, you know, our ancestry, remember our history, where we come back from. This is what the movement is about, being reconnected with our African ancestry and culture. And, you know, Sankofa, like my surname, you know, go back and fetch, you know, go back, study in the past so you can, you know, move forward in the future and learn based on, you know, learning what happened in the past.
Rastafari. At the time, I think at the time when the Rastafari find the eye find Rastafari, Islam was very prominent within the UK, probably within your age group at the time. Why didn't Islam appeal to the eye? Because it, you know, Islam, you know, has been something that the young British youths appeal to. Why the eye wasn't attracted to that?
I think it was because, well, Christianity or Islam, I mean, you know, because it didn't have African center at the core. Islam, yeah. Rastafari has an African center, black center at the core. You know, if you say for a lot of Muslims, for example, they put Islam first, and, you know, the Quran is not really, you know, telling people, you know, about Africa, about repatriating to Africa and these kind of things, and, you know, black people doing for self. It's more about the nation of those who are Muslims, you know, regardless of, you know, the ethnicity or whatever, for those who are in Islam. Where, you know, Rastafari is, you know, us as, you know, black people, about our nation of, you know, people of African heritage. And I think this is the reason why I didn't see that consciousness in Islam, which I saw in Rastafari. I didn't see Islam, how it related to my, you know, my history or my ancestry, which I saw where, as a descendant of a slave African, you know, with Jamaican roots, how Rastafari is part of, you know, my history and my journey and my story.
Rastafari, give thanks for that clarity there, my lad. So, alright.
Smash that subscribe button. See you on the next video. I just start the mindset.